done and dusted. The lights go up to the top of your screen. When the lights extinguish and go green, we will be away and racing. And it looked like an initial really good getaway from Zerchling. He's had to block now. Alex Riberas, who I predicted might be good from the start, is looking promising. Pieter Schothurst, as a whole bunch of Porsches going to head for the hotel turn.
The other one that was away well was Nicky Tim, but Schothurst is in real strife. He's in the gravel. He's going to tumble down to midfield at best, and Schothurst just outbraked himself, and he can't rejoin yet because he'll create absolute mayhem if he does. And so now it's Christopher Zerchling who leads the way, being chased by Alex Riberas. But Nicky Tim, everywhere he went, he found somebody in his way, and he's now dropped back, I think, into fourth place as the cars work their way through for the first time. And now Schothurst, the pole man, looks like he's beached on the curb.
Now that where he is beached on the curb, well, that could provoke a safety car, that's for sure. We just saw in one of the shots there's some more drama going on right at the back of the pack. So the cars away then. This, the opening lap of the Porsche Carrera Cup race. We've got two races across the course of the weekend. And Zerchling, then Riberas, Tim made a great start, but then, as you say, he got balked, and that's the car that's gone out.
That's Bill Barozzetti, who had a big spin in qualifying and missed the wall. Well, there's witness marks on the side to say that he's not, I'm afraid, missed anything this time, and we may even go safety car. The yellow flags are waving towards the end of the lap, and I wouldn't be at all surprised. Yet we've got the safety car in anticipation. The boards are on the start line, so Zerchling will lead them across the line, but they'll all bunch up. We'd lost a lap off the distance anyway because of the extra warming up lap, and at the end of lap one, the safety car will collect them all. We can take a big, deep breath. There is the safety car. It's a Mercedes that will lead, but it's Zerchling from Riberas as they come across the line. In third spot is Christian Engelhardt. In fourth is Nicky Tim. In fifth place, when they came past the pits, Conor de Filippi and Michael Ammermüller rounds out the top six. And let's have a replay of the start. Have a look at Nicky Tim's car up near the pit wall, because everywhere he wants to go, there's somebody in his way. And when they get themselves down to the first corner, Pieter Schothurst is so busy trying to brake late, he just brakes far too late.
Yes. Yes, it was self-inflicted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. Look, Nicky Tim on the grass there, trying to find a way past. Wherever he went, he was being blocked, wasn't he? He's gone to completely the other side of the track now to try and find some space. Pieter Schothurst there ends up beached on the runoffs, and as you say, there was a little bit of contact there with Riberas, to be fair.
But I think he was going off anyway,
Yeah,
Dave.
I think you're right.
He'd locked up, cold tyres and inexperience of Porsche racing all thrown in. I mean, look, that line's never going to get him round the corner. And eventually the only thing he can do is sit there with his bucket and spade, because he ain't getting any further in the race.
So, and that is where Schothurst ended up. One or two cars with contact at the end. And there you can see some dust being kicked up there.
Yes, there was contact in midfield, and then there was more mayhem.
That's what I saw.
And Barozzetti got caught up in it, didn't he? And there are bits flying, so it's not just cars, it's debris on the road as well that has brought out this safety car. It
was the Christopher Burkham being turned around that I saw, and Bill Barozzetti, who's sadly no stranger to going round, had an off during it was free practice or qualifying.
Qualifying, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was qualifying.
So Jochen Haberts has made a pit stop as well. And there are some rather disillusioned drivers sitting around the circuit. In the meantime, the safety car continues. Christopher Zerchling, who's not had a win in the Carrera Cup before, leads the way. Alex Riberas, who is another newcomer this year, is there in second spot. Clement Schmidt goes through. Jeffrey Schmidt goes by. Oliver Nielsen stepping up from Volkswagens. And, of course, Jaap van Lagen and Philip Eng haven't made great progress. They didn't get much racing in, really, of course, on that first lap. Now the safety car is on track. In a sense, this helps a bit because it keeps them all bunched up ahead. They should be able to make progress on the restart, but they will be fewer racing laps in which to do it.
Yes, you're absolutely right, they will. What Zerchling will have to do here, of course, is back them all up when the safety car does come in and try and get a bit of a flyer, won't he? Otherwise, he could be hounded by Engelhardt, Riberas, Tim, and everyone else. And there's the Barozzetti car. No big panic to get that moved at the moment, is there?
No. Mind you, the officials are a bit busy trying to clear all the rest of them, aren't they? Because you've lost Daniel Alleman and also Mike Halder's cars, which were involved in that incident as well. I think Daniel Alleman has now been convinced to give this up as a bad job, so he will clamber out of the car. Mike Halder likewise. So, one on the grass, but then it was behind, I think, where it all kicked off, wasn't it? Round about now, yes. 3 into 1, didn't go. Pincer movement, and as you say, the one that ends up in the gravel, being spat out of the way, was Christopher Burkhan. He was probably safer over there because everybody else then ended up with contact trying to go through on the inside.
Well, to be fair, having seen that now for the second time, Barazetti was a real victim.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I think the aggressor was Jochen Haberts, who went for the inside, and that kind of triggered it. There is Bill Barazetti, whose car shows the damage. And I think he's trying to say, don't tow the car because it's got broken suspension, and all you're going to do is make it worse. That means lifting, not dragging, and I think that's what he's, in a rather animated fashion, trying to tell the officials there. He wants a suspended tow, not the car being dragged off the road. So, it's round 3 of Carrera Cup Deutschland. We are behind the safety car. These laps count. It's a 25-minute time slot, and Barazetti is being told to get back in the car. He is rather keen that the car is lifted, and the officials, I think, have won that argument. He's got back in his car. We'll see what pans out next, but there's bits of debris to be retrieved. So Christopher Zirkling leads. Alex Riberas is second. Third at the moment, it is Christian Engelhardt. Nicky Tim runs in 4th place. In 5th spot at the moment, you've got Conor de Filippi. 6th, Michael Abelmuller. 7th, Robert Lucas. 8th, Robert Renard. 9th, Clemens Schmidt. And to round out the top 10 is Sven Muller. And the cars come frustratingly for another lap over the timing line. We've done 3 of them now. All that weaving around, you can see, is to try and maintain the warmth in the tyres that you're going to need for the restart. And Alex Riberas, running in 2nd spot, is the man trying to work out now how, on the restart, he can do anything at all about the man that leads the way, Christopher Zirkling, because he will also be mindful that if Zirkling gets away, it's going to be very, very hard indeed to bring down that gap. He's got to be on his toes on that restart and challenge as soon as we go green. Yes, and that's why I think if Zirkling has got his wits about him, he'll back them all up so that he can get a bit of a flyer and try and mitigate the chances of Riberas getting on terms. But we will see if that happens. Well, they've moved the Barazetti car, but they've not moved it far, to be honest, as you can see there on screen, right in the middle of your shot there. There's the car up against the Armco as the rest of the drivers come on through, as you say, trying to maintain some warmth into those tyres. Qualifying and free practice that we were watching this morning, I mean, the drivers in the Porsche Carrera Cup give it absolutely plenty. Take loads of curb, there's bits of Porsche underside regularly dispersed across the circuit. They really always deliver incredibly aggressive and hard charging racing, as the Barazetti car now is being towed backwards. And by Jiminy, that suspension has broken at the back there. You could see the underside of the wheel arch virtually on top of the tyre there. So big damage there for Bill Barazetti, who was really rather a victim of that. As you say, it was Jochen Haberts that seemed to start it off, really. And, well, some work for Bill's engineers to do from TAM Racing to get that car back out as he removes his glasses. It's disappointing for Bill. Also there, the Daniel Alleman car from GT3 Casco, and of course the Jost Abrasives logo on there as well from Dominic Jost, of course, another racer. And, well, we're counting down the laps behind the safety car, 4 of 16, and what have we got left on the clock? But 16 and a bit minutes, David. It's going to go to time rather than laps, isn't it? No, definitely, will do. Just thinking that was quite a car park over on the infield with all the, I'm afraid, damaged Porsches. I get the feeling that the pace is quickening, and therefore I would imagine this will be the last safety car lap, at the end of which we will go racing, because what the officials will do is get everybody going faster now to get the warmth back in the tyres, ready for the restart. So, although the lights are still on, they hopefully will go out when the safety car gets to the line, the safety car line. Alex Riberas, in his 2nd year of Porsche racing, ex-Formula Renault racer, needs to get himself onto the table, Zirkling, ready for the restart here. And then the man in 3rd spot, which is Christian Engelhardt, with the Conrad livery. Somebody else that knows how to take the battle. Just looking lower down the order, did Schottland's never get going at all? I don't think he did he? So, from pole position, Hero, to retirement at the first corner, 0. And there, a bit of an animated discussion going on between Alleman and Barazetti about that little incident earlier. I was looking down the order as well, and of course, Philipp Enger, who
would want to, you would think, would want to seize advantage from this race and the fact that the Earl Bamber car is not in the race. He's going to be, well, he's going to have a difficult job to get past Jaap van Lagen, who's ahead of him, P13. So it's P13 and 14 for Van Lagen and for Philip Enger.
Which is not great, is it, from either of them, because they are two of the real guns in the championship. So they are struggling. We're going to go racing at the end of lap 5 out of 16. We have got 14 and 3/4 minutes to run. Here we go once more. Zirkling will lead them across the line, chased by Riberas and then Engelhardt, and he's got Nicky Tim right up behind him. Tim could be the danger man for the podium out of all of this as they head down towards turn 1 on the restart. Engelhardt defends. Tim tries to unsettle him, but he can't find a way through.
Yes, so Nicky Tim then from P4 at the moment. He is really hounding Christian Engelhardt, but in fairness to Zirkling, I think he did exactly what he needed to do in terms of backing up Alex Riberas and then going for a flyer, and he managed to get a great restart. So it's Zirkling leading from Riberas, then it's Christian Engelhardt being hounded by Team, then it's Di Filippi, and then Amamuller, P6.
Race leaders working their way then now through this triple left, kink, kink and kink again, and then down to the hotel corner. Takes you in front of the media centre, the hotel building, and then the speed builds as the cars pound at the back part of the circuit. And the battles rage on right the way through the field, but the fiercest of all at the moment is for 3rd place, I would propose. Engelhardt versus Tim. Nicky Tim has got the speed, he's got the experience of these cars as well, but what he hasn't got is a gap. He can't find a way past Engelhardt, who himself is an experienced Porsche peddler these days. The race leader, though, Christopher Zirkling, is doing his best to get away from Riberas and is making a very good job of it, isn't he?
Yes. Zirkling then, he's got 5/10 over Riberas, as we see Marco Klein, and oh no, Rolf Inischen, who's been leading the B category. Well, he's managed to get that car out of the gravel, which isn't easy to do, is it? Because the gravel trap does exactly what it's supposed to do, really slows the car down. It looked like the car was beached in there, but he managed to really dump the clutch, didn't he, and get it out of there. Oh, and he was very sideways when he went in.
He was the aggressor, wasn't he, to try and make a move up the inside. It didn't pay off for him, and thankfully he has survived the experience. He's lost a whole heap of time, but Rolf Inischen then is back into the race, and thankfully the yellow flag is withdrawn. So, next little battle that rages on there, look, is Philip Eng trying to find a way past Van Lagen. These two need to work together, don't they, and get themselves up the order at the moment, because they're battling, they're holding each other up. But if they can work together and get through the traffic, that's going to be good news. The other thing to factor in, of course, is that if Van Lagen isn't doing every round, points are less relevant to him than they are for Eng, so it doesn't really matter as much.
Exactly, and I think that Jaap van Lagen is going to be a real nuisance to Philip Enger here, as we watch that battle as Enger there in the Deutsche Post colours of car number 12 tries every which way but loose to try and find a gap alongside Jaap van Lagen. Isn't able to do so. Just as I say that, something falls down in the commentary booth here, which is why I was laughing. I certainly wasn't laughing about this battle, which is a really exciting one. Some dust is kicked up, and still Philip Enger is trying to find a way. Does he get alongside Jaap van Lagen now? Van Lagen shuts the door on him. So these two really are fighting tooth and nail further down the order. We are talking about P12 and 13 that's being fought off here. Of course, what it is doing is playing into the hands of Ola Nielsen, who's in P12 at the moment, there in another Deutsche Post car. But try as he might, Philip Eng can't find a way past Jaap van Lagen, and truthfully, he's going to make that Porsche as wide as possible, isn't he?
Now, as the cars turn their way through turn 1 once again, fair play to Christian Engelhardt. He's hanging on to this 3rd place. Nicky Tim, oh so frustrated. He still can't find a way through, and there's more mayhem at the end of the lap because
Felix
Wimmer, yeah, in 24. Birken has had another drama. Wimmer started from the pit lane, didn't he? And he gets going again eventually. Now, how did all this kick off? Whoops, up the inside goes Birken. He hits Wimmer, and round he goes. Synchronised spinning there. We also got a shot of Schotthorst just ahead of them, so he did rejoin. There's the contact, there is the spin. They've both been able to rejoin.
Yes.
Eventually. I think there are going to be quite a few grumpy people at the end of this race. Driving standards have not been exemplary, have they?
Exemplary is a word that you wouldn't associate.
No,
yes,
quite.
you're quite right.
Unless in the context of Zirkling, because in fairness to him, he's got on with the job now. He's got his head down and he's built this gap. And Riberas second is also benefiting from this very wide car of Engelhardt that is keeping Nicky Tim at bay.
And I'm very surprised that Nicky Tim, with all his Porsche experience, has not been able to really fluster him into making a mistake and trying to find a gap. But he hasn't been able to do it at the moment. So Christian Engelhardt sticking his elbows out of that number 8 car, and Nicky Tim is trying to find a way past. Now, is Tim close enough to have another go when we go into the hotel turn? Doesn't look as close as he has been in the past couple of laps, to be fair.
I'd agree with you on that, and he's not going to be able to challenge there. There is an effort being made lower down as well. Look, as they come to the braking area, because diving up on the inside and getting through was Muller. He's up into 9th place then at the expense of Clement Schmidt, or is he?
And Jaap van Lagen still there ahead of Enger. I thought Enger might have done it there, but he didn't. But what a great move that was from Muller.
Jeffrey Schmidt down the pit lane now, so I think he's got caught up in strife somewhere. Of course, it doesn't take much if you just hit with the front of your car against the back of somebody to do a radiator, and that could also be another reason why we've got so many cars dropping out of the race. Ola Nielsen, in the meantime, is hard at work. Now, the next target for him is going to be Clement Schmidt further up the road, because we'd already seen that change, hadn't we, with Sven Muller getting up and past. So Nielsen would have seen that. He knows that the man ahead, Clement Schmidt, is vulnerable. He wants to try to make a move as well. Ola Nielsen, who was the star of the Sirocco Cup a couple of seasons ago, now having to adapt to a very different sort of race car.
Well, Ola Nielsen, of course, raced in Porsches last year, but in the Swedish Championship, which he was victorious in. But it's a whole different ballgame, isn't it, when you come into the most competitive Carrera Cup here in Germany, David?
And, of course, this is the new car now, isn't it?
Indeed.
The 991, but all the domestic championships are using it. Was run in the Super Cup last year, but not in domestic series. Number 12 then, Philip Eng, trying to capitalise on a rather dusty moment by Van Lagen, and they're getting it all wrong. Coming up to the timing line is Connor De Filippi, who was in 5th, but not anymore. He's 7th. He ran wide out of the last corner, and the American, he's going to have to go defensive. For 3rd, they are nose to tail as well as they drop down to turn 1. Robert Lucas is now the man under attack as well, and there's contact. De Filippi almost gets turned sideways, but he manages to hang on to that.
Well, that was a hair-and-scarer moment, wasn't it, in this Porsche Carrera Cup race that we're enjoying here. Now that he has finally got underway here at Oschersleben, and lights being flashed there to full effect, like that's going to make any difference at all from Sven Muller's car flashing those lights. Still, Enger is caught up behind Jaap van Lagen. He's not able to find a way through, and that was the replay of where it went wrong for Connor De Filippi.
Ran himself too wide over the curb, and the car was unsettled, and it bounced, and it flicked him the wrong way, in a sense. It got him onto the gravel. See the floppy markers being annihilated through some of the chicanes as well. Philip Eng, incidentally, is running now up into 13th place. He's gained a spot on that lap. This was the Muller versus De Filippi attack at turn 1. De Filippi stood his ground, but Philip Eng at least is in the points. You get points if you're in the top 15. Now, getting a replay also of the spin from number 16, which was Marco Klein, who at least has the good grace to spin out of the way of the traffic, doesn't he? But into the gravel, I'm afraid, at the hotel turn. And he digs himself out. And he rejoins, and in a terribly generous manner brings an awful lot of gravel onto the track with him. The gap between the leaders has come right down, though. Zirkling is under attack from Riberas.
So has Zirkling suddenly found himself with a little bit of a problem, or has he just made a mistake somewhere and lost that time? Because the battle for P1 and also the battle for P3 really hotting up now. What have we got? 6.5 minutes left of this race.
We're on lap number 11 out of 16. It's going to go to the clock rather than laps, I think, as the race leaders power their way down the back straight. Now, is this the reason? Yes, it is. This is why the lead gap dwindled, because Zirkling made a mistake. He did what De Filippi did, really. He runs wide, he bounces over the curb, and although he was able to hang on to it, he lost a big chunk of time, and that, as he gobbles up that sausage curb at the chicane, absolutely launches the car. Franz Conrad looks on. He's content because his man is still in the lead, but only just is Engelhardt 3rd ahead of Nicky Thiem, who is right on his tail. And now Zirkling is getting a bit more ragged.
Yes, I wonder whether the pressure is beginning to get to Zirkling now. But Alex Riberas, who, well, he will have be well aware of the fact that Zirkling made that error of judgment there, and he'll be hoping for another one where he will be able to capitalise on that, and he's just going to sit pretty, perhaps for a lap, to see if he can pressure him into making a mistake again. Nicky Thiem has done his very best by filling the Engelhardt rearview mirror with his car, but that hasn't pressured him into making a mistake.
The fight for 3rd comes out of the last corner. Quick word about Peter Schothorst. He did get back in the race. He's running 22nd. And and he's on this lap done the fastest of anybody in the first sector. So Shockhorse is trying to make amends. If he's in the top 15, he'll score points in class. Leaders down towards turn 1. The gap between them is 7/10 of a second, and then it's 3/10 between Engelhardt and Team. A bit lonely 5th is Ammermuller, and then 6th is everybody else, headed by Robert Lukash, and there's a really brave effort there being made up on the inside, charging through under braking. Conor Nielsen tries to gain ground as Zirkling still fends off this attack of Alex Riberas. They're getting themselves into little pairs, aren't they, for the squabbles now, all around the lap.
That Jim Pla move was amazing, wasn't it? Absolutely. I thought it was going to end in tears, but no, managed to hold on to it. So well done to Jim Pla. Great move there. Zirkling leading 7/10 over Riberas. Is that Schotthurst in the pit lane?
Don't think so.
It was a McGregor car.
To be Fabien Tournay in the sister car.
Okay.
To say, Shockhall's not shown as having pitted as we look at the leaders working their way onto Stadium Straight. Engelhardt has got this special wide-bodied car, hasn't he? Because whatever Nicky Team tries to do, there's a bit of a Conrad Porsche in the way. Down the straight they come, heading to the Shell S's, circling ahead of Riberas. Either way, one of them is going to be on for a first victory, but Zirkling looks as though he's going to be the man. It's been a very impressive drive, this, and this is really going to spice up the championship with another race to come tomorrow.
Very much so, and Sven Muller just saw in shot there. He was continuously flashing his lights at De Filippi ahead of him. It's going to be, this could be very, very good, couldn't it, for Franz Conrad, who we saw on the pit perch just a moment ago. 2 Conrad Motorsport cars on the podium would be great to see. Of course, we've seen Rolf Inischen go out, and Rolf Inischen has been doing so very well in the B category, leading that championship, but still one of those Conrad cars is preventing Nicky Tim finding a way past. Nicky Tim down there in 4th place has not been able to find a way past Christian Engelhardt.
It shows you, doesn't it, how evenly matched the cars are, and if you've got a good car and you're a good driver and a good team operating it, how hard it is to find even a 1/10 of a second to really attack. That said, the 2 race leaders have gapped the opposition by 1.7 seconds now, partly because of the fact that Engelhardt has had to defend so vigorously. But up front, great drive by Zirkling. Apart from that one little wobble he had at the last turn onto the pit straight, it's been a very impressive drive as the cars now weave their way round in front of the hotel, up the straight, and we have got 3 more minutes of the race to go. The clock is on the screen, so it's going to go to time rather than to the number of laps. Nicky Team has not given up in his quest to get past for 3rd place, and there, I'm afraid, with a damaged splitter, and that will affect the aero, is Jeffrey Schmidt heading for the pits.
Oh, Wolf Nathan there. Oh, he did jolly well to hold on to that. So Wolf Nathan then in the Uponor liveried car did jolly well to hold on to that. Okay, last time around, Zirkling took another 3/10 away from Riberas. As around goes Iceman. He's into the gravel, isn't he?
And not for the first time in the race, I think. Didn't Iceman have a drama early on, just before the safety car? So he's had a checkered old race. 2 more minutes to go. It's going to be this lap and 1 more.
So, what can be done? Well, one thing's for sure, Jaap van Lagen has done a terrific job in terms of keeping Philip Enger behind him. They're fighting over P11, and every which way Enger has tried to go past Van Lagen. He's been thwarted, it hasn't happened. So, race being led by Zirkling. And there you can see the battle for 3rd place. Christian Engelhardt with his ever wider Conrad Motorsport Porsche, who's able to hold Nicky Tim at bay, and has been able to do so from the resumption of racing after the safety car, to be fair.
And Tim can't really force the issue, because if he makes a move and there's a bit of contact, he could do a radiator, and that spells disaster. So certainly in race 1, bearing in mind that it's early in the championship, there's another race to come tomorrow, he may as well take the pain and just sit there for 4th place, unless he can force a mistake out of Christian Engelhardt, but none looks like it's coming. And if anything, Nicky Tim has dropped a bit of time working through the Shell S's there, up towards the end of the lap. In the meantime, Michel Gatting and Antti Burri, the former British Formula Ford champion, run together. The Dane ahead of the Finn. Good Scandinavian battle going on as the race leaders go across the timing line onto the last lap, with the gap widening between the top 2, now 9/10 of a second. But Michel Gatting doing a very good job here, keeping Antti Burri at bay.
Yes. So there is the 2 Attempto cars you can see in their familiar livery. Michel Gatting, car number 77, and Antti Bury opted for car number 99. But here is our race leader, Christopher Zoechling, then, who has 9/10 over Alex Ribeira in P2. Is there going to be a do-or-die effort from Nicky Tim to try and wrestle P3 away from Christian Engelhardt? I think you're absolutely right. I think he's going to settle for what he's got.
If he can apply the pressure and Engelhardt makes a mistake, fine, he'll take advantage of that. But I don't think he's going to door handle it on this last lap, even suspecting that he was able to get up alongside because the pace of Engelhardt's car has been so good. But it's been a great drive by Engelhardt to defend that third place. But Zoechling, absolute top draw job this, heading for a maiden win.
Zoechling heading towards the what is now effectively backmarking Rolf Innishin car that rejoined following the off. So Christopher Zoechling then completing this lap and is, well, barring any last-minute dramas or errors, going to head towards the checkered flag and put a smile on Franz Conrad's face as there goes Zoechling to take the win from Riberas. Then it is Christian Engelhardt, and Nicky Tim really had given up the fight, and there is the smile on Franz Conrad's face as expected.
Franz Conrad himself, no mean racer, of course, in his time, and a very successful team owner, but excels in running Porsches these days. And a 1-3 is a very good effort. And Alex Riberas it is who comes home in second in the Attempto Racing car. Martin Alcar's team. And the celebrations continue up and down the pit lane. But there is Franz Conrad.